On August 31st, 2020, the Tactruz SMP was created. The original members were Tactruz, Vested, Cariously, Tencreature, Entity 1, Rags 9885, and Thomas V. In the beginning, everything was peaceful, and the members went about building and exploring. About a week in, conflict began on the Nether Bridge between Tactruz and Entity 1. The fight ended when Entity 1 was hit off the bridge into the lava ocean below, losing all of his gear. Immediately after, he set off far out into the world to escape. After journeying for a while, he came to a stop in a field where he built a large box of bedrock, where he stored many duped items. Soon after, he quit, leaving the location of his items to Sharky Sands. Sharky formed the Entity Coalition, and in response, other members of the server formed Atlantia. These are the first of many examples of teams on the server. Tencreature, Tactruz, and Vested raided one of the biggest Entity Coalition bases, filled with totems and other good items. Throughout the next couple days, conflict broke out, but it came to a peak when Sharky Sands and his teammate Orange Blaze were ambushed at spawn by Tactruz, Vested, and Cariously. The battle continued for a few minutes, and Thomas V got involved. Sharky and Thomas were killed in the battle, and a ceasefire was eventually called. In the following 2 months, a few new players began to join, and no major conflicts happened. In early November, a minor conflict happened between Tencreature and Tactruz, where they both ended up with some of each other's items. When trying to trade on neutral ground, it went south, and Orange Blaze and Tactruz killed Tencreature. Tencreature decided that he would stay at his house far from spawn and any other civilization. At some point in October, Vested and Cariously discovered the hidden underground base of a group called the Mountain Moles. They destroyed the base and stole all of their items, leaving behind signs taunting them. Shortly after, Cariously moved in with Tencreature. On November 16, 2020, the members of the practically defunct Entity Coalition had a war with Orange Blaze and Redraptor. Red stole Sharky's prized stall disc, and in retaliation, Sharky mistakenly stole Blaze's equally sentimental Mellowhide disc. Sharky, Green Tree, and Hit the Button took up arms and met the two in a clearing to fight. Sharky, Button, and Red were killed in the battle, and Green overpowered Blaze, winning the war. As an agreement to stop the fighting, Red was outcast tens of thousands of blocks away into exile with no escape as punishment. 2 days later, on the 18th, the most powerful members of the server met in secret to form a group. To this day, many of the members have not been revealed to the public, nor have the locations of many of the bases. They were known as the Vanguard, and operated as an underground syndicate with heavy influence over the events in the server. There were very complex systems about reaching the higher-up members of the group as to protect them. They had hundreds of shulkers of rare items, and every item in the game, including unobtainable ones such as nether reactor cores and red obsidian. There has not been a more powerful or influential group since the Vanguard was created. On November 20th, 2020, an argument began between Cariously, Tencreature, and Green. They were fighting over the rights to an XP farm when Cariously attacked Green. Little did he know that by hitting him, he was starting one of the largest wars on the server. Over the next 2 weeks, Tencreature and Cariously stayed hidden away on their peaceful island, away from everyone else. During this time, the Vanguard only grew more powerful and gained more influence. On December 4th, 2020, Gegnagel and Elena joined the server. After 2 minutes online, Gegnagel accidentally blew up a creeper, revealing Orange Blaze's dupe stash. Because of the trouble they were causing, they conflicted with other members of the server. Gegnogel challenged Tactruz to a duel in iron armor to decide his and Elena's freedom. He won the duel by half a heart, and they joined Tencreature and Cariously. They became known as the Islanders, and were the second most powerful group behind the Vanguard. The next day, Green Tree met with the Islanders as a representative for the Vanguard in the Peace Forest, an area where there is no violence. Words were exchanged, and neither side was able to come to an agreement. Immediately after the meeting, the Vanguard officially declared war on the Islanders. In the meantime, the Islanders were attempting to establish a central currency for the server, called Shlonar coin. Although they pushed very strongly for it, it never ended up working out. While preparing for war, Gegnogel discovered a dupe glitch on the server that had to do with beacons and stackable items on the mobile version of the game. The group duped shulkers full of netherite, diamonds, god apples, and other useful items. Back at spawn, many new players were joining, most notably Nakmatsiyt, Ushigushi, Jello, Outstorm, and Chris. Out of the new players, the Vanguard recruited Outstorm to fight in the war with them. On December 6th, Gegnogel and Elena ran into tactruz at spawn after stealing Sharky Sand's stall disc. The Vanguard had put a large bounty on their heads, and a 2v1 fight broke out between them. Gegnogel and Elena were killed, losing all of their items. The war was scheduled for the next day, and both Islanders were back on square one. After this battle, tensions only became higher on the server. On the night of December 7th, both teams converged in a clearing near spawn. Curiously, tactruz, Gegnogel, and Elena were on the Islanders' side, while Rags, Outstorm, Alagamer, and Zirian were on the Vanguard side. Tactruz, Vested, and Thomas Fay were on the ridge above, watching everything from above. Vested rung the war bell, and both sides attacked each other. Zirian was immediately killed by harming arrows, and Outstorm only got a few hits in before he was killed as well. Rags was trapped in spiderwebs and then killed by all of the Islanders quickly. Then, tactruz flew down onto the battlefield and swiftly killed both tactruz and Gegnogel, revealing that he had been a part of the Vanguard the entire time and saving the last fighter, Alagamer. He shot curiously, and Allah killed Elena, ending the battle with a close victory for the Vanguard. Right before the war, the Islanders' location was leaked to Alagamer by Chris, a neutral and peaceful player who didn't realize that the coordinates were in a screenshot. Right after the war, he leaked the coordinates publicly in game chat and to every member of the Vanguard. After getting defeated in the war and having their base public, the Islanders had lost almost everything. Gegnogel decided to blow up tactruz's compound, killing his first dog tactruz. In one last act, Elena hid all of their dupes thousands of blocks away in a location only she knew. On December 8, 2020, every member of the Islanders quit the server. After the war, many things about the server changed. Harming arrows were banned on the server, and dupes were cracked down on. Sharky Sands and Green Tree were banned from the server because of refusal to give up dupes, and Vested fought very hard against it, but eventually, 99% of duped items on the server were destroyed. Around this time, it was revealed that Green was leading the Vanguard under an alias the entire time. The server's economy was back to normal, and everyone could play happily again. The new year marked a new era for the server, with many new players joining. Some of the most notable are Sky Reborn, Oh Lucky, Raccoon Tape, Magic Scroll, Rat King, and Honeybees. Many players focused on grinding and building bases with smaller groups of people, and it was a good period of time for everyone. Vested and Mabiamonte founded VICO Vested Yoda Cartel Operations, the most successful business in the server's history, bringing in hundreds of diamonds in profit. At some point in January 2021, Entity 1 joined back for a short period of time with his friend. At the beginning of February, Honeybees was elected as the Queen of Spawn and ordered a wall of obsidian be built around Spawn. Some people were unhappy about this, including Nakmik's team consisting of Nakmatsiyt, Ushigushi, Sky Reborn, Nate the Great, and Magic Scroll. Soon after, some of them decided to tear down the wall. B quickly got word and sentenced the ringleaders, Ushi and Nachmik, to serve time in the inescapable prison. Ushi retaliated by blowing up the compound at spawn. This would begin the longest on and off war of the server's history. Over the course of the next month, Nachmik's team would fight tactruz in small battles. At some point during a fight, Ushi's pig Gilbert was killed by accident, and a funeral was scheduled for February 7th, 2021. At first the funeral went smoothly, with about 10 people in attendance and no fights. Everyone at the funeral was asked to sacrifice an item in commemoration of Gilbert. Nakmik's item was a piece of armor that he got from killing tactruz at some point in the ongoing war. Tactruz attempted to grab the armor, Lepance, and a fight began. Magic Scroll, Nakmik, Ushi, and Sky attacked tactruz. Magic Scroll was killed quickly, and tactruz began to run. A chase throughout Spawn ensued, and Sky was killed too before they finally killed tactruz. Around this time, Outstorm, Jello, O'Lucky, and Wanton founded the Villain Hype House and started to cause problems with everyone at Spawn. All of the other players banded together to run them out of Spawn, and it was successful when the house was burned to the ground. It is still unknown whether or not it was on purpose or there was an accident. They went into hiding thousands of blocks away underground. A couple of days later, tactruz and Vested managed to locate the base and tunnel in. They caught them off guard, and with nowhere to run, all 4 of them were killed. They would attempt to found another underground base, but it was quickly destroyed by unhappy players. Later on, Jello and Lucky would make their own peaceful mountain settlement, Mount Everest. Raccoon Tape and Honeybee founded one of the largest settlements outside of Spawn around this time, simply known as Town. There was a collection of houses and shops on top of the island, and a sprawling, hidden compound underneath. It contained the largest villager trading hall on the server to this day, and is still a mostly undiscovered area of the world. Vested decided that he also wanted to make a settlement, naming it Vestedville. Mabiamonte would soon decide to create another settlement next to it, named the Ewok Village. In the following weeks, no major events happened, and people continued to expand their settlements. One day, Orange Blaze logged on for the first time in a long time. Vested did not like him, and with Mabiamonte and Chris, they managed to corner him in the Vanguard castle and kill him, driving him from the server. Another major thing that B did as Queen of Spawn was to make a new currency, named B-Coin. This was the most successful currency in the server's history. Many transactions were done with it between players, and all of the businesses used it as the main form of money. In mid-February, signs appeared around Spawn threatening the Queen, written by someone by the name of Syndrome. These messages went on for days, and nobody could figure out who the mysterious Syndrome was. The Vanguard, reformed under the new leadership of Alagamer, put up signs and flags challenging Syndrome. For days, both sides would taunt the other through signs around Spawn until Syndrome took action. On the 26th of February, Raccoon Tape, B's closest friend, was kidnapped and taken to Syndrome's lair. He then threatened other members of Spawn by saying he would take them next. A few days later, one of B's soldiers managed to track down the lair and freed Raccoon. There were signs at all of the cells labeled with the names of various citizens of Spawn, including Chris, Vested, Mabiamonte, and Rags. This meant that Syndrome could not be one of these people, but it did not eliminate the majority of the members from the suspect list. Eventually, B stepped down as queen so that she would not be at risk anymore. After this, Syndrome was never heard from again, and to this day, his true identity remains a mystery. This would be the last conflict of the Golden Age. After this point, B-Coin became an obsolete currency, and most of it was destroyed for supplies. In March, a very large project resumed construction called the Horus Temple. It was built in honor of Horus, Vested's parrot from the beginning of the world. Construction was started in late November 2020, but was halted due to the start of the Vanguard and Islanders War. It is a large temple in a drained-out area of the ocean, and thousands of water blocks were taken out. It was finally completed 4 months later, in March of 2021. Weeks went by, and people began to realize that there is not much left to be around for, and by mid-April, Spawn became a ghost town. In early October of 2021, after months of dormancy, people began to return in droves. Some of the new notable players include Nuo, Remillard Soup, Blessing Hydra, Offbeat, A Light Miner, Sushi, Crazy Coin, and many others. In addition, 3 of the 4 islanders returned to the server after almost a year: Gegnogel, Cariosli, and Ten Creature. For entertainment, the more powerful members founded the Pit Fight Club, where new players would fight to the death to win good items. Gegnogel was crowned the champion after beating every other player without dying once. He would keep his title for 3 years straight. Soon after, Gegnogel and Nuo would form the Mongolians, with the goal to take over the entire world block by block. They recruited Cariously, Ten Creature, Remillard Soup, and Blessing Hydra. They began progressing very quickly and were a powerful group within days. Their first plan was to take out the most powerful member of the server at the time, Nogmik, who was allied with Skyer Reborn. Despite making an alliance with Thomas Verse's group the Hells Angels, they were not able to take him down with a 7 versus 2 surprise attack. Shortly after, Gegnogel, Nuo, Vested, and Cariously caught Nogmik off guard at spawn. Gegnogel was killed, and they did not manage to catch Nogmik. The Mongolians retreated back to their base for a few days, where they plotted on how to get an advantage on the server. Nuo came up with the idea to make super horses that could run 10 times faster and jump 10 times higher than a regular horse. They spent days perfecting them and launched another attack when they were done. Again, Nogmik managed to survive alone against the Mongols and Hells Angels, even with the powerful horses on their side. He even managed to kill a few people and horses before retreating. A day later, Sky Reborn and Nogmik were caught by the Mongols and thrown into a pit of lava as a show of force. After this, Vested, Tactruz, and Tomas V grew wary of the Mongols, realizing they were ruthless and power-hungry. They met with Nogmik's team in the Peace Forest soon after. Vested wrote up a treaty, and he and Nogmik both signed it to keep the peace between their two teams. In order to gain more wealth, the Mongols decided to hold an auction for some of their super horses. Bidding started at 1 block of netherite for each, and they managed to get much more than that for the 4 horses that they sold that night. Vested bought 1, Sky bought 1, and Tactruz bought 2. The Mongols continued to try and take control over the next 2 weeks, and Nogmik peacefully retired during this time, with a near-perfect fight record throughout his entire time on the world. Ten Creature also left the Mongols for unknown reasons around then. With Sky Reborn left alone, they turned their attention to Tactruz. Gegnogel and Nuo attempted to ambush him at spawn, but he managed to escape to Sky's base. Sky managed to kill Nuo, and then they drove Gegnogel away from the base. Nobody knew it at the time, but this would start the fall of the Mongols. It was then that they discovered illegal dupes on Nuo's body, most notably flight duration 232 rockets. Nuo attempted to return to Sky's base to get them before they were discovered, but he was forced to combat Log. This began a long investigation on the legitimacy of the Mongols' progress. A day later, Tactruz caught Nuo and Blessing Hydra at spawn. He killed Hydra and forced Nuo to retreat. Soon after, he infiltrated the Mongolian capital. He ran into Gegnogel and killed him as well. The following day, Gegnogel intercepted Tactruz while he was flying. He attempted to take him out of the sky, but was killed on the ground moments later. Returning to Mongolia once again, he ran into Remillard Soup and Gegnogel. He fought and killed both, but retreated when Nuo came to fight. The duping investigation continued, and about 40 duped netherite chestplates were found underground in Mongolia. With probable cause, all of the surrounding land was torn up, and duped shulkers full of illegal items like bedrock and 32 KS were discovered. After an admission of guilt from an anonymous member, Nuo, Blessing Hydra, and Remillard Soup were handed a 1-year ban from the server. With the Mongols disbanded, another peacetime era began on the server. For a couple weeks, people went about their usual activities and had fun, but soon it became boring. Ten Creature and Tactruz opened a restaurant on the water, and the members of the server met up one last time for a dinner before leaving the realm for over a year. On June 15, 2023, long after the previous events with the Mongols, everyone returned once more. Many new players joined in this era, most notably Xenisteus, Marine Pilot, Chikarini, Coco Sprite, Fred, It's Laughable, EZIT, Hunter, Xgas V, Malmorius, Black Dragon, Seven, Doomdorphin, Whippy Bread, Holy SV2, and Bunker Pete. Very quickly, Gegnogel began scheming against the server. He joined up with Vested, and they decided to build a highway going straight over spawn, knowing it would be an eyesore. Being one of the wealthier players on the server, he was able to pay some of the new players to do the construction for him. The main stretch of highway was quickly completed, but Gegnogel wasn't done. He decided to make another section of the highway, but this one would go straight through the old Vanguard castle, taking down the flag and a portion of the wall. Nuwo, Gegnogel, and Vested would found Cinco, or Syndicate Corporation. Stealing an old player's base, they began construction on their headquarters. They also brought on 10 Creature, Smaller Lamp, Bunker Pete, Holy CV2, and Remoulade Soup as employees. Feeling unhappy about the disrespect on the Vanguard Castle, 3 former members teamed up to hit back: Tactruz, Orange Blaze, and Outstorm. Their first action was to mine out the second section of the highway and restore the castle to its former condition. One of Cinco's employees, Holy SV2, tried to stand in the way, but was quickly shot by Orange Blaze's infamous crossbow. This would begin the bloodiest era on the server. When the Cinco chairman caught word, they were livid. Not starting a direct conflict, Gegnogel ripped the doors off of many people's houses, destroyed their chests, and placed bamboo all over spawn. Every time someone tried to take down the bamboo, it would be replaced. Unhappy about the grief, Tactruz destroyed all of Cinco's chests holding materials for the highways, which were now being spread in every direction. Gegnogel got caught invisible placing more bamboo, and was killed by Tactruz on the spot. Sky Reborn, Crazy Coin, and Nate the Great would join Tactruz, Orange Blaze, and Outstorm, forming Team Veteran. Overnight, Gegnogel tore up a large area of spawn for the dirt, leaving the area a mess. Tactruz confronted Nuwo and Vested about it, which ended in a fight between Nuwo and Tactruz. Not wanting to start a full-blown war, the two teams scheduled a meeting to write up a peace treaty. Tactruz, Sky Reborn, and Outstorm met with the 3 Cinco chairmen in Cinco's headquarters, and managed to make an agreement. Both sides agreed to keep a 15-block distance from each other's builds, and also to not provoke or attack the other side. The members of Team Veteran built their own headquarters surrounding Cinco as a joke. In the following few days, there were no issues, and everyone on the server played normally. Then, on June 23rd, Gegnogel, Nuwo, and Vested attacked Sky and Coin unprovoked, nearly killing them. This was seen as an act of war, and Tactruz chased them back to their base, but they went into lockdown before he got in. The veterans began to gear up for war, and they mined a tunnel going from spawn straight into the middle of Cinco's headquarters. The next morning, Sky, Coin, and Tactruz attacked the 5 members that were at the base. Tactruz killed 10 Creature, Sky Reborn killed Gegnogel, and Nuwo's armor was destroyed, but they were outnumbered and were all killed eventually. Some of the things that happened during the fight were suspicious on Nuwo's side, and after a second look at the footage, he was banned. Gegnogel was furious and used blackmail to get Nuwo back on the realm. The following day, valuable items were stolen from the Cinco headquarters. They started an investigation and went out to interrogate suspects. Their efforts were unsuccessful, and Gegnogel wanted to take out his anger. Knowing he couldn't get banned due to his blackmail, he began killing innocent players. Remoulade Soup left Cinco around this time to join Team Veteran, tipping the scales on their side. Now in the middle of a full-blown war, Team Veteran members were out for blood. For the next week, there would be no owner on the server, so Sky Reborn and Smaller Lamp were appointed temporary mods. In the middle of the night, while Bunker Pete was working on Cinco Tower, Orange Blaze walked up behind him. He gave him the option of leaving Cinco for good or being killed on the spot. Bunker Pete refused and was quickly killed by Blaze. This would cause Bunker Pete to quit altogether, which meant that Cinco was down another member. Since Tactruz was not there to stop them, Cinco was able to enact their secret plan. In just 2 days, they put dirt in between all of their highways and removed all of Spawn's torches, covering it in darkness. They called it New Spawn. They also introduced Syncoin, a new currency that would give them more control over the economy. It worked for a few days, but people stopped using it pretty quickly. Sky, Nate the Great, and Remillard Soup attacked Gegnogel, Nuo, and Vested, killing all of them. Gegnogel and Nuo started to target members of Team Veteran, griefing and killing them consistently so that they would quit. The final straw was on when Tactruz, Sky, and Nate were ambushed and killed while AFK at New Spawn. Coin came to see what was happening and was also killed. Gegnogel and Nuo would take all of their items back to their hidden vault and continue to kill them for another 20 minutes. Besides Tactruz and Blaze, all of Team Veteran would quit after this due to unfair treatment. With nobody to stand against them, Cino would begin a reign of terror, killing and griefing anyone they wanted to. They would kill people's pets, lavacast their bases, kill innocent players, and then file all of their items away in their vault. This went on for weeks, and nobody could do anything about it. Remillard Soup was banned during this time for breaking almost every single rule. He was furious and tried everything he could to get back. He threatened to distribute dupes he had hidden, threatened to grief the server, and even threatened tactruz in real life. When he attempted to have dupes distributed, he was caught, and he was banned from the SMP chat. He used more than 5 alts to try to get back in, but was not able to. Despite all of the bad things during this era, new players still managed to make good progress. Xynostheus formed Pandemonium with Fred, It's Laughable 66, and TXCT, where they would build a large spruce settlement. 7 founded sticks with XCASV, Michaela, and Hunter, who built a large underground complex. Lastly, Coco Sprite, Marine Pilot 101, and Chikirini made an oceanside settlement and a large base inside of a mountain. At the beginning of August, a group called the Paleface Clan joined the server. Their goal was to bring order and peace by any means necessary. They had about 15 members, and they were led by a player named Miller. Notable members of the clan are Miller, Traxamillion, Tombred, Azure, Lexencorp, Dead Reaper, Uncle Lester, and Rainbow Cons. Naturally, a power struggle happened between Paleface and Cino. It quickly became clear that the Paleface clan had no respect for the server, and were similar to Cino in many ways. They would steal items from players everywhere, and also took over bases belonging to other players. Despite being on opposite sides, Tactruz and Vested both knew that Paleface was a bad influence on the server. Vested managed to infiltrate the clan, becoming close to Miller. Tactruz started negotiations with Miller, playing into his goal of ruling the server and gaining his trust. The first battle happened when Gegnogel caught Azure looting a base and attacked him. Miller declared war, and had all of his soldiers prepare. Gegnogel started using his alt, Easd Lord Sean, for a short period of time after this. Lexencorp's location was leaked to Nuo and Cariosli, who quickly killed him. Gegnogel found out that 3 of the Paleface members were hacking, and passed it on to Vested. Vested told Miller, and the 3 were exiled from the clan. Miller started setting up a capital, but members of Cino built a watchtower nearby and were watching them constantly. Gegnogel and Cariosli flew down and killed 2 clan members, making them angrier. Gegnogel tried to come down again later, but was killed by 3 other clan members. Gegnogel would kill many members of the clan in the next couple of days, winning the war. On August 16th, the realm would be shut down for multiple reasons.
Are you gonna be? Say that you're gonna be.
She says she wants some Marvin Gaye, some Luther Vandross, a little Anita, but definitely set this party alright. She says she wants some ready for the world, some new edition, some mini Ripperton, definitely set this party alright.
Yes, it will. It definitely will.
Oh,
No, I told her.
I told her to drive over in your new whip. Bring some friends you cool with. I'ma bring the cool whip. Then I want you to strip. See you is my new chick, so we get our grind on. She be grabbing, calling me Biggie like Shine Home. Man, I swear she fine home. Why she always lying on? Telling me them diamonds when she know they rhymes. Got a light-skinned friend look like Michael Jackson. Got a dark-skinned friend look like Michael Jackson. I play ready for the world, she was ready for some action. My dog said you ain't no freak, so you bout to prove my man wrong. I'ma play this Vandross, you gon' take your pants off. I'ma play this Gladys night, me and you gon' get right.
Marvin Gaye, salute the Vandross, a little Anita, but definitely set this party alright.
Now, Kanye, I know I told you to slow it down. It's beautiful, but now I need you to do it faster, baby. Do it faster, baby. Do it faster.
Damn, baby, I can't do it that fast, but I know somebody who can.
I got you looking at the glitz on my hands and wrists while I'm laying back and smoking on my cannabis. When it come to rocking the rhythm like Marvin and Luther, I can tell you when I'm messing with Kanye and Twist. When I shot and I be sipping Hennessy, piss on my Ruby while I smoke a B. You can pick with me, put it on the G. And all this.